Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Rob's Rig. So, does modifying the Jeep Wrangler ruin it? Can you ruin it? And what do you do to avoid ruining it? You know, I think one of the first things, or one of the biggest reasons that people buy Jeeps, Jeep Wranglers, is to modify them. I mean, I've done a few things on this one so far, and even the factory kind of has done a couple of things, right? I mean, they come with side steps a lot of times. These I actually put on, but they do come with some of the Jeep Wranglers. They put bigger wheels and tires on it. They do other things like tenting. You kind of have to be careful, particularly if you're tenting. Make sure that you stay legal, or at least you understand that if you're not, you might have a problem. But anyway, what do you do? What do you do that can ruin a Jeep Wrangler, and how do you avoid it? It says here, and this is a consensus of opinions out there as to what can happen with the Jeep Wrangler. It says modifying a Jeep Wrangler will not ruin it if you use high quality parts and correct the vehicle's geometry after changing its ride height. So in this case, they're talking about lifts, right? I mean, if you're going to lift the Jeep Wrangler, which, let's be honest, they look freaking fantastic when you lift them, right? Plus you can put even bigger tires and stuff on. It will only ruin the Jeep if you cut corners, install cheap components, or ignore how heavy tires affect the drivetrain. And that kind of leads into re-gearing a little bit too. I see that out there, people asking about putting 37s on or even bigger, and then having to re-gear to be able to haul those around. Me personally, I wouldn't do that, but if you're a big time off-roader, you want that clearance, or maybe you're building it as a show truck, whatever your motivation is, I guess, you have to be prepared to do what you need to do to maintain the drive line, the power of it. What actually ruins a modified Jeep? Cheap lift kits. Well, this should go without saying, but there are a lot of cheap lift kits out there. Budget kits often include stiff, low-grade shocks and skip critical alignment pieces. This results in a harsh ride, poor handling, and the infamous violent steering vibration known as the death wobble. I think of all of the complaints or the things that people worry about the most, this is what I see mentioned the most, is the death wobble. You know, if I put these tires on, or if I go with this lift, or I change this or that or whatever, am I gonna have the death wobble? And you see people occasionally that have ignored the advice of not using cheap lift components. They have the death wobble, and then they want to know how to fix it. In my opinion, the only way to fix it is to change the lift out to something, I guess, quality. Oversized tires without re-gearing. Interesting that they mention this next, right? And I have not read ahead. Adding massive 35 or 37-inch tires without changing the gears inside your axles strains the transmission. It makes the Jeep feel incredibly slow, prevents it from reaching top gears on the highway, and destroys fuel economy. All of this in the name of having bigger, better-looking tires, right? Something that you don't have to do, but we all love to do it, right? You have to be careful. I mean, you can ruin a lot of things. And again, I've seen some comments out there, you know, hey, I put these 37-inch Giganto tires on. They're heavy. They weigh, I don't know, 110 pounds a piece, whatever it is. Why is my Jeep so slow? Do I need to re-gear? Well, there's your answer, right? Skipping a professional alignment. Another thing I see a lot. Hey, I'm lifting my Jeep. Everything seems right, steering wheel's right, looks right. Do I need an alignment? It says here, altering the suspension changes the steering angles. Failing to properly align the front end afterward causes rapid tire wear, those big expensive 37s you put on there, and makes the steering feel loose or flighty at highway speeds. I've experienced this myself, even with an alignment. You know, when you put those big old tires on there, it's going to change the way it handles, right? And you might feel a little more flightiness. Is that a word? Flightiness in the way the steering is, for sure. How to modify it safely. I think it's basically the opposite of everything we've already talked about, right? But nonetheless, what does it have to say here? Buy complete lift kits. Choose reputable suspension brands, and they mention a few here: AEV, TerraFlex, or Fox. I'm sure there's many others. That include corrected control arms or track bars to maintain factory steering geometry. Very important, and you ought to run. You know, if you're looking at a lift kit and it seems like it's missing pieces as compared to the more top-of-the-line name brand kits, there's a reason for that. One, they're trying to keep down pricing so that they can undercut those other companies, and a lot of them will even say, well, we're cheaper than Fox, but they don't include what you need, right? Program the computer. Use a calibration tool like a taser or a flash cal. Never heard of that one. After changing the tire sizes so the speedometer and automatic transmission shift points adjust correctly. This is another thing I hear about. You know, people changing the tires, adding the extra weight, changing the suspension, whatever it is, and then complaining about the way that the Jeep shifts. Well, you've got to tell it what you did, right? It doesn't know. It probably thinks it's just under load and it's performing the way it's supposed to. But you've changed it permanently, right? You have to do that, I think. The speedometer, that's more of a, I think, a convenience. You know, when you're driving down the road in a 65 and it reads, you know, 68 or 70 or 62, depending on what you do, it's annoying. And it's a good way to avoid it is to go ahead and recalibrate it to the tires that you have on. Lastly, budget for supporting mods. If you buy bigger tires, budget for upgraded brakes. Something else we really haven't talked about, right? I mean, when you're going to add that extra weight, it's going to take more to stop the Jeep. And if you don't upgrade the brakes, chances are you're going to burn through them quicker because they're going to have to work harder to slow you down. It's got more weight to stop, right? It only makes sense. Let's see, a stronger tailgate tire carrier. That's something I think a lot of people don't do, and I have seen the effects of that in used Jeeps in the past. You go to take a look in the back, you open that back door, and it kind of falls down a little bit. You can feel it, and when you shut it, it either slams really hard because it's got to move up a little bit in its fixture there. Got to make sure that you put something on that can support the weight of the tires that you're now using, right? It's not designed for that from the factory. Let's see, and proper axle gearing. We're back to gearing again. Again, something I see people mention frequently. Do I need to re-gear? And it really depends. I mean, there's always a threshold, a limit once you cross that you're going to have to do that. I would say if you put 37s on, maybe even 35s, probably not, but maybe, you'd have to re-gear to get the power back or the capability back that you've lost by adding that extra oomph to the Jeep, right? I mean, if you're on the freeway and you're cruising and it never goes into a higher gear because it's not set up right, you're going to notice that and it's going to be annoying. Anyway, those are just a few ways that you can ruin your Jeep Gladiator with modifications, and a few things I guess you should do to avoid it. Leave a comment. Let me know if you've done any of these things. Did you take care of all those extra steps, or did you just say, "Ah, the hell with it," and now you're wishing you did? I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.